Okay, hey everyone, how we doing today? Time for another episode of All About the Flavors, that show that I like to do here at my house, where we try and find alternative measures to bring flavor to foods without using heavy salts or fats, blah, blah, blah. I've said that at every show now for like 36, 40 shows, but I mean it. So anyways, today, what I wanted to talk about and what we're going to do is we're going to try and go through spices and herbs, dried herbs, and how they're used. And, how do everybody has a spice cabinet or a spice rack at their home or their apartment, right? And, a lot of times when you first get into a house, the first thing you do is you got a fry pan, you've got a pot, you've got a skillet, and that's it. And you got no spices. And so what do? You go to Walmart and you buy a spice rack that's got like 24 spices in it. And each one has like maybe 1/8 of an ounce of whatever that particular herb or spice is. And what happens? You immediately blow through the salt, the pepper, the parsley, the oregano, the basil. And you've got like these 18 other spices that you look at and say, what are these? I don't even know what they are. What the heck is allspice? Is that every spice in the world thrown together? So, no, it's not. It actually is a particular spice that is from the myrtle berry plant. It's the unripened, dried berry. And it's called allspice because it tastes like a combination of cinnamon, clove, black pepper, and something else. But anyways, that's a digression. So what I wanted to do was to kind of go through my spice cabinet. It's not even a rack. I got lots of stuff sitting over here. So we're going to go take a look at that, and we're going to pull some of the stuff down and kind of go through what goes with what doesn't go with what, and we'll just make up a couple rubs and we'll go from there. So let's head over to the spice rack. So here we have, right over here is where all the goodies are. This is my spice cabinet. We're going to do the grand reveal. Also, you can see here I've got some peppers that are drying. These have been hanging here. These are Farmer Dave out of Dracut. These have been hanging here for almost 2 weeks. And they're just beginning to dry out. And what I'm going to do with these is once they dry and get almost like leathery, we're going to take them, seed them, core them, and then cut them up and buzz them in the little coffee grinder. And that will make a really, really intense hot spice. But it's got great flavor because you see we've got different kinds of peppers. We've got long ones, cherry ones, etc. And it'll be a nice blend. So anyways, let's take a look and see what's up in the goodie cabinet. So this is my spice cabinet. Okay, I've got, I don't know, 50, 60 different spices here. We've got up top, I've got a lot of cumins and chilies. In here, some gingers and almost Asian flavored things. Some other seeds and stuff. But anyways, and we're going to go through, I got, smoked Spanish paprika. Hey, remember that allspice I was telling you about? Look, there it is. So anyways, I'm going to pull some of this stuff out, and we're going to go back over to the other part of the kitchen, and we're just going to start messing around and talking about spices. Okay? See you in a minute. So here we have a plethora of spices and herbs. And we're going to go through them in just a second. But as you can see, I got a good amount of stuff here. Some more here. Basic things. We're going to go talk about this in just a second. But the first thing I wanted to show you is some dried peppers. And this is a chipotle, which is a smoked jalapeno pepper. And it's dried. And what you need to do with it is you need to reconstitute it. You need to get it wet. So what I do is I take them out and I put them in water. And that is I then use this in a lot of different things. So here, this is what it looked like here. This is what it reconstitutes out to. Okay, it gets meatier. You pull it apart. It's nice and juicy. You can't literally do anything with this. It's too chewy. You just need to rehydrate it. And a lot of dried peppers are like that. Got some other ones here. These are Arbol chili peppers, and they're called Slim, Beautiful, Curved, Bright Pods. They're very close to cayenne, so these suckers are spicy. You gotta watch out for these. Okay, so let's put those away. Put this away. Let's look at some other things here. First of all, here's a nice one. We used to get this herbed olive oils from a good friend of ours, and he'd send us a whole package of them every year. And every now and then there'd be some dried herbs to go with them, which is a nice thing until you start looking at the ingredients. And what's the first ingredient? Salt. What's the first ingredient in this one? Salt. This one? Yeah, you guessed it. Salt. So you got to be, you have to be careful using these things. I mean, people love salt. Go ahead. I just find that it masks the other flavors. So, use them if you want, but just read the ingredients before you use them. All right, let's look at something else here. Basic stuff. What do we have? Pepper, black pepper. I also have white pepper. I use a lot of white pepper in things because it's the same product without the shell. Other things basic things that I use when I'm cooking, when I'm making a basic kind of dried herb for something and just the herb, I'll always include French thyme and basil. So I've got some thyme and basil. These work together very, very well. There's an herbal, floral kind of ingredient to it. Another thing that I use a lot of, especially when I'm cooking like a fake pasta with a zucchini type thing, strands of zucchini, I'll use a lot of crushed red pepper, just because it heightens up the flavor and it really it adds a little bit of zing. Okay, so let's put these away for a second. I don't think I'm going to need them for now. The first thing that I want to go over here with is let's just kind of do a little rundown on what we've got in here. I've got chipotle. Okay, this is the ground powder out of those other peppers that are over there, the first ones that I showed you. I guess that's basically what you can do with them if you don't hydrate them. You grind them up, and it's rich and it's smoky, because it is a smoked jalapeno. I've got some cumin. I use a lot of cumin especially in my barbecue dry rub. Chili powder, right? Let's go back to the cumin. I didn't show that one. Cumin. Chili powder works well with the chipotle. Why? Because the chili is the basic flavor. The chipotle gives you the smoky. The cumin gives you some earthiness. So you can see just with these three things, we're building flavor profiles. We're building layers of flavor, one on top of the other. Another one that I use, this is an ancho chili pepper. A little different from the chili powder, different chili. It's rich. It gives a sweet flavor. So we've got earthy, we've got heat, we've got smoky. Now we've got a little bit of sweet going in there. Then everybody's all-time world favorite, to avoid, pretty much, cayenne. Why? I love cayenne, but it doesn't like me. If I opened this up and I took a whiff of it, I'd be sneezing for about the next 40 minutes. So I'll use it, but I'm not smelling it. But it provides heat. This is your definite hot pepper. What else do we have here? Two of my all-time favorites that I use a lot of. Oops, come here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, next in line here, like I said, my two favorite, I use these in something that I call a red spice. And I use the cayenne, Aleppo pepper, which is it's Turkish. And I don't know, I really don't know much about it, but I love the flavor of it. And also some smoked Spanish paprika. This is the basis of one of my favorite spices, and I use it a lot. And what's really neat about it is that depending upon what protein you put it on, one of these flavors comes out to the forefront. So I use it on salmon. I think the paprika comes out. Use it on pork. The Aleppo pepper is the star. And so it's very versatile. And I use that in a lot of things. Okay, let's talk about what else we have here. I got some more Spanish paprika. Let's go into this little goodie bag here, or goodie tray. These are probably these are spices that I will use Asian. So I have some ground ginger, basic staple of a lot of Asian preparations. I have regular ginger, which is just the ginger root, dried, and you just shave it down. And then back here, I've got a couple different mustards. Regular mustard powder, Mexican mustard powder, and a Oriental mustard, which is a little hotter. And then in the back, some galangal. And this is a Thailand product from Thailand. It's very close relative to ginger. So yeah, it smells a little bit like ginger. It complements the ginger that in the beginning here. So I will use these when I'm doing an Asian preparation. What else we got here? Getting into some of the seeds. Okay, white sesame seeds, always good for to provide texture. The black sesame seed works the same way. Okay, caraway seeds. Caraway, what do you use it in? I use it mostly when I'm making like a potato salad, and it provides that caraway flavor. I can't describe it anything else. Mustards, I've got some celery seed and mustard seed. Celery seed I will use, again, in some kind of salad preparations. Potato salad, it actually goes very well in. Turmeric, which is an Indian powder. Again, I haven't used it in a long time, but let's take a sniff and see what it... Yeah, it's earthy. It's basically, I think it would be very similar to cumin in that respect. What else we got here? Let's take a look. Oh, these are a few of my things that I'm going to use today. We have white pepper, right? Cousin to black pepper. Garlic powder, staple, always good to use, and I use it a lot in my dry rub. Onion powder, same thing. There's some, what else do we have here? A little dried oregano. Haven't been using this much because I've got a fresh oregano plant outside. Been using that. That's pretty good. And we got some wasabi, which again, this wasabi would go with the gingers and the Asian preparations. And that basically is pretty much all of the spices that I use on a regular basis. So let's get cracking and make something that we can use for today. Okay, first thing we're going to make today is my basic red spice. I call it red spice because all the three spices are red. We have cayenne, right here, the cayenne, the paprika, and the Aleppo pepper. So let's just, I'm not very good at using tablespoons. I'll just eyeball it. Basically, the ratio here is you want this to be about, the cayenne to be about 1/5 of the two other ingredients, because this sucker will heat up. It will make it too hot. So you just want that in the background. You don't want it to be the dominant flavor. So I'm going to take some Spanish paprika. Let's say that's about 4 tablespoons, right? Eyeball. And I'm going to mix the same amount of Aleppo pepper. That's pretty much the same. And now, so we've got 4 ounces plus 4 tablespoons, 8 tablespoons. I would do only about maybe 1 tablespoon of this because of the heat factor. It gets really hot. So that's maybe a little bit more than 1. It'll be fine. Now let's just mix this up. You can use your hands, you can use a fork, doesn't really matter. And this is it. This is the my basic go-to spice for doing proteins. So paprika, Aleppo pepper, cayenne, red spice. Really, if you want a nice little flavor profile, this is the bomb, okay? So let's put that to the side, and now we'll go to our next preparation, which is going to be a dry rub. I use this to dry rub on if I'm making brisket, if I'm making pulled pork, if I'm making chicken wings, or just some other kind of chicken product, chicken thighs. What I'll do is I'll take the skin off the thighs, put the dry rub on it, let it sit in for a while, and then grill it. Just it's beautiful. It's just so flavorful. So anyways, again, I'm not one for measuring by tablespoon, but you'll notice that when I do this, I'm pretty much going to be doing equal amounts of all of the ingredients to balance the main ingredient, which is brown sugar. Okay, why are we using sugar? Well, it's the basic for pretty much all barbecue. You need sweet to go with the heat, and the sweet, I like brown sugar versus any other kind of sugar because it has more depth, more flavor, more oomph to it. So let's take out my bowl. I've got my sugar here, and I'm just going to dump a good amount, okay? And you might say that's a lot, but there's going to be equal amounts of all these other things in there in a bit. So let's put that, oops, I guess I should wrap this up correctly, otherwise I'll get yelled at. So let's put that in. And it's always good to do this, because if you don't use it a lot, what happens? Once the package is open, it dries out and it becomes very, very hard to work with. You can use it, but you might actually sometimes, I've had to take it and put it in the microwave to soften it up. So let's put that back in. We won't be needing that anymore today, so you're going to the back. Hang out with your other buddy there. Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to do a little bit of most of these things here. So black pepper. Take some black pepper. Always good to use the ground black pepper. It's going to be a healthy amount because the black pepper provides a little bit of texture and depth, and it counterbalances the sweet from the sugar. Now we got some white pepper. Pretty much let's go the same amount, right? And that's going to be a neat little flavor profile. Garlic. Gotta have garlic. I think garlic is one of the main flavor ingredients that I love to work with. especially roasted garlic. I'm not very fond of raw garlic because it's just too hot. It's too pungent. Let's go with some onion powder, okay? And what's happening here, like I said, we're going to get all different flavors and textures, and it's just going to be phenomenal. We're going to use our trio here, the Aleppo, the paprika, and the cayenne. Go back to that. Wish my fingers were working better today. There we go. A little cayenne, not a lot. A little goes a long way. And it's going to make me sneeze. I told you it would do it. Yeah. There you go. Thank you. Paprika. This is going to be one of those shows. Paprika does a good job. Now you see the Aleppo pepper. Same thing. Wow. Okay. Let's go to our chilies. Okay, the ancho chili. I'm going to add some of that. What's it going to do? It's dark and it's sweet. Oh, man. This is going to be a great show. The Sneeze-a-fest. Cumin. Earthy, like we talked about. We're going to get some of that earth textures in there as a basis. Like to have that. Chili powder and the chipotle will be the last of the things that we're putting in. Same thing. Now take a look at this once I get the chipotle in there. And what is chipotle? Chipotle is that sweet, that smoked jalapeno. What it does, but the smoking process really makes it less intense, because jalapeno can be really freaking intense. In the last show, I did a jalapeno mint sauce, and after I made it the first time, I tried serving it a second time a couple days later. The jalapeno had gotten so hot, we had to kind of thin it out with yogurt. It just got so hot. So you got to be careful about that. But anyways, when it's chipotle, it's been smoked, that kind of tones that down. Okay, so as you can see, pretty much the mixture is about half sugar, half spices. And that's going to give you a really, really nice balance. Okay, so I'm going to clean this out for a second, and then we'll mix this up. Back in a minute. Okay, I'm going to go in here with my hands because I want to get this mixed, as all these ingredients mixed as well as possible. And so to do that, I could do it with just my hands the way they are, which is fine. But then it's also comic relief watching me put on these gloves, because they never, ever fit me. My hands are weird. So we're going to see how this works, and then try and get this down to the point where I can start doing it. If you thought that hand was fun, wait till you see this one. This is the one with that had the surgery. So I have the crooked fingers. So let's see if I can pop these guys out. Okay, if we don't get all the way, we will sacrifice for time. Okay, that's good enough. So I'm going to just go in here and just start massaging this stuff all together to make sure that it all comes, that we have a good mixture. Because you got to break up the sugar. You don't want these little things of sugar here just hanging out, because that'll you're just going to get a sweet factor, and it won't balance well with the rest of the stuff. So as you can see, my sneezing has subsided for the moment. And here we have, I think it's a pretty nice looking mixture. Okay? And to compare, okay, I will do a little something. Hold on one second, be right back. This is a dry rub that I made previously. Take a look at let's do a little compare and contrast. So we got the older one, this is the new one. Guess what? They look just about equal. So my portions, I think, were pretty good. All right, so let's take this, and this is what we're going to use. Let's get rid of the comic relief gloves, and let's start getting ready to do some cooking. Back in a minute. Okay, so the spice rub is done. We're going to do burgers. So I want to get a little bit of spice rub on the burger meat on both sides, and then we're going to let it sit for a second. Then the grill is already going, so we can get that fired up and cook up some lunch for Derek and Elijah. So here we go. So a little bit, you don't need an awful lot, but you want to get a little covering on the meat. I always like to do both sides. The meat is from Walden Farm. It's the meat share that we get monthly. It's phenomenal. If you have an opportunity, you should. It is worth the investment. Okay, so gonna let this sit for a couple minutes because take a look. You want that spice to kind of work its way in. If I were doing this the way I normally would do it, I would put this on maybe a couple hours before. Let it sit out for a bit, refrigerate it, and then pull it out again. And the reasoning for that is that when you refrigerate it, the meat contracts and it pulls the spice back into the meat. And then later on, when you take it out and it starts to get more warmed up, it just releases that. And so the flavor just is there. Okay, so, I can already see that it's beginning to go into the meat, and if you really want to press the issue, you can press the issue. You can just try and just lightly push the spice into the patty. As we can see, we've got a good level of spice there. Okay. That's looking pretty good. When I cook these, I'm going to cook them in the pan because what happens is that when it's fresh, meat from Walden, it will, once you get it over the grill, it'll fire up, and I don't like that kind of flavor because it burns. So this will give it a nice sear, but also will keep it from getting charred. Okay, so going outside, back in a minute. We're outside here. Grill's been cooking for about, 10 minutes or so. 550 degrees, perfect temperature for burgers. So we're just gonna throw it on. Ooh, yeah, that's hot. Just gonna throw it on here for now, and it's gonna start cooking. Some of the fat will render out, but that's okay. Fat is flavor. And so let's see. We're going to come back to this in a few minutes and check it and flip it and put the rolls on, and then we're going to assemble, and that's lunch, and that's the show. Okay, we've been cooking for a couple minutes here, and let's take a look and see what it looks like. Oh man, look at that. Let's get in tight on that shot. Doesn't that look good? Look at that spicing has stayed there. I'm going to try doing a little flip stir. Oh yeah, we got a little bit of a sear there. That's good. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is hot. Okay, this should be ready in just a couple minutes. But you can see what I was saying about the fat, because if this were going on the open flame, it would be shooting up and it would really ruin the burgers. So this way, the spice mixture stays. You don't get that blackening effect, and it's a carcinogen, so it's not good for you. So keep that in mind. All right, we'll be back in a second. Okay, let's throw the rolls on, just because these will take maybe 20 seconds to heat up. You don't want them to burn. Why cook a nice burger and burn the rolls? So I will count in my head to 20 and hopefully pull them off in time. If not, I go to the freezer and get some more. So back in a second. Oh yeah. Ooh, is that good for you? Is that done enough? Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, we are good. Let's close this. And I think we are good to go. We're going inside. So let's shut this down. Let's assemble. Let these two hungry guys eat to their heart's content. In we go. Okay, assembly time. Let's get this going. So I've washed down the lettuce because lettuce tends to get wet. So let's take a little bit of lettuce on top. Right here. Little tomato on top of that. Gonna leave the two end pieces because what happens, they always slide out. So now we can do our burger. The cheese is melting a little bit, which is good. It's just softening up. And ladies and gentlemen, that is our dry spice on burgers. These guys are going to go eat. We'll see you again next time we do a show. I'm Bob Hamill. Remember, at our house, it's all about the flavors every single day. Thanks. See you later.